Hi YouTube. This is going to be my first ever direct response video to a question asked by a theist in a YouTube video. And this YouTube user is once forgiven, now free. And I'm not sure what he's been forgiven for. I'm hoping it was nothing as heinous as merely existing. In any case, the video in question is entitled The Atheist Nightmare, a simple question. So I'm assuming that I'm going to have that I'm going to be kept up at night now after having watched this video. We'll see how that goes. I shall report back.
Atheists often ask me questions about my faith, and I think that's a great thing. I've responded several times to their questions and provided evidence to back up what I believe. Now, whether you accept that evidence is entirely up to you.
Oh, thanks.
But you can't claim that I haven't given you any. But this time, I want to try to do something a little bit different. I want to ask atheists a question. I want you to give me an answer.
Rocking out in the woods.
So, here's the question. Was your brain intelligently designed? Now, hopefully you figured out that I'm looking for a little more than just a yes or no answer. Obviously, atheists will claim that no, their brain was not intelligent.
Obviously. I have to say, I've watched this video through, and there's some arrogance involved, and I'm not sure where it comes from. I don't know if it's a sort of passive-aggressive bit. Maybe he's been challenged aggressively by atheists in YouTube. This is my first time seeing this guy, or what, but there's a little bit of arrogance here, and I think it's a little bit arrogant to sort of already start formulating the answer for someone that you've asked a question. So, I will begin by saying, it's not obvious that atheists would say no. You don't know anything about an atheist except that he doesn't believe in God. You don't know if they necessarily subscribe to the theory of evolution or understand it at all. I'm certainly no expert in the theory of evolution. If you ask me the question, sort of as a layperson, was your brain intelligently designed, I would say, I don't know. It's pretty simple. I just don't know enough. I understand that there is a good deal of evidence that would lead us in that direction, but I'm not personally privy to any of it, nor have I taken the time to study it in depth, so I don't know. That's the honest answer. Now, if you're being technical, then I would say no, because no, I don't think my brain was intelligently designed. It was, it's been formed through a process, since my inception, through a process of, growth and the ingestion of nutrients by first my mother and then myself, and then the impact of my surrounding environment and the things that I intake, alcohol and whatever else. And so that would be my answer, no. Now, of course, if you're asking me if the DNA that sort of dictates how my brain forms is intelligently designed, then I'm back to the I don't know answer, because I just don't know enough about the theory of evolution. But I think there's going to be more to this video. Let's listen further.
Designed. So, doesn't that raise a few red flags for you? I mean, if you want to claim that your brain was not intelligently designed, then shouldn't your entire belief system come into question?
If you want to claim, well, I think the only people who would be claiming that their brain was not intelligently designed would be the people that have evidence to the contrary. And so if you have evidence, then that's a claim with evidence. It's not really even so much a simple claim anymore. It's not some sort of baseless assertion. As for the red flags, no. Geez, I wonder what he's getting at.
It seemed to me that you would have no reason to trust your own thoughts.
So the thesis here is that if your brain was not intelligently designed, that it would cause red flags for your worldview, because how would you even be able to trust your own thoughts? Now, I think it's important whenever you listen to a question like this to also work it backwards. So he's trying to draw a conclusion here, but if you think about it, that's sort of where we're at, right? We already know that our brains are fallible, our senses are fallible, and it is only through a combination of the people that have come before us that have discovered these things, and the combination of our intellect, our reasoning skills, our memory, and our sense data, along with other feedback from our environment, such as other people, that we're able to sort of ascertain what our limitations are and to have workarounds for them, so that we can have the most rational view an empirical view of our world. So if you're going to work that backwards, then you might ask the question, well, if our brains were intelligently designed, why would this necessarily be the case? Why would our brains be so fallible? Why would we need all these workarounds? Why would we need to identify all these problems inherent in the design of our brains? And so I've used the table analogy in a few videos recently. And so if we were to go to Joe, the furniture maker, and have him build us a table, and the table failed the first time we used it, we probably wouldn't call Joe a master craftsman, especially if that was sort of the way it was with every table that he built. So obviously, the quality of the design should be somewhat proportional to the expertise of the designer. And in this case, what we're being told is that not only is this a master craftsman, but in fact, this is the supreme entity. This is the perfect creator. So you would expect the creation to be pretty darn good, if not perfect. And so it doesn't really follow that we would have all these imperfections in our brain and in our senses if the architect was this supreme being. So I think, unfortunately, this little exercise actually does more to illuminate the shortcomings of the theistic worldview.
So I'm hoping you guys will provide video responses. This is the time for atheists to rise and shine, to show all of us Christians why we should take you seriously.
Is that a one-way street, or is there something you need to do to prove to us that we should take you seriously? It's kind of a strange thing to say.
To show us why your faith is a rational one.
Did he just drop the F-bomb? Did he just use the word faith and the word rational in the same sentence? I'm not going to waste everybody's time explaining this to you. I would implore you to look up what the word rational means.
Take the best responses and summarize them in a video where I can critique them and explain why I think the Christian faith can provide a better foundation for logic and rationality than yours can.
Well, logic and rationality. I'd like to see that. Many have tried, none have succeeded. Before you make a video explaining why the Christian worldview can explain logic and rationality and reason, I think you need to understand what those terms mean. When it comes to faith, I want to say one more thing. I've been using this table analogy, and I kind of like it, so I might just run with it for a while. If I enter a room, and Joe's in the room, and Joe says, yeah, I built this table, and I look around, and there's no table to be found, do I have faith that there's no table?